The room glowed with warmth, laughter rippling through the air, glasses chiming, and the faint scent of roasted garlic still hanging from dinner. I sat quietly, idly moving food around my plate, pretending the noise and joy around me didn't sting the way it did. Across the table, she laughed, that effortless, radiant laugh I used to adore. Watching her now, surrounded by friends, leaning in, teasing, so at ease, it struck me how natural it was for her, how much lighter her world seemed. She made a quick joke, the kind that drew everyone in. They laughed. I did too. Though the sound that left my mouth felt hollow, practiced. It wasn't the joke that hurt. It was how easily she could toss it into the air, how the room bent to her charm as if the quiet distance growing between us wasn't even real. I suddenly saw how often I'd ignored these moments, the small dismissals, the subtle digs I'd convinced myself were harmless. But that night something shifted. The laughter hit differently. Beneath it, I felt the ache of how far we'd drifted apart. For a brief second, our eyes met. Not in amusement, but in something sharper, heavier. I had spent years smoothing over cracks, swallowing words that wanted to rise. And then she said it. One more offhand punchline, thrown without thought, landing squarely on everything I'd been holding back. Time seemed to slow. The laughter faded into a dull echo. She caught my gaze and saw it. The line she'd just crossed, the hurt she hadn't meant but couldn't take back. My throat tightened, my hands steady against the table, though a storm gathered inside me. She leaned back, smiling faintly, unaware she'd just tipped the balance. But I was done excusing, done waiting, done shrinking myself to keep the peace. I've had enough, I said quietly. The words weren't loud, but they carried all the weight I needed them to. Her smile faltered. The table fell silent. She opened her mouth, but I didn't let her speak. There was nothing left to say. I pushed my chair back, the scrape of wood on tile sounding louder than anything else in the room, and stood. Eyes followed me, uncertain. She looked up, searching for the warmth I used to offer, but found only resolve. I wasn't stepping out to cool off or to make a point. I was leaving. For good. As I walked away, the room blurred into soft colors and half-heard murmurs. I didn't look back. Some doors once closed aren't meant to reopen. Each step I took felt heavier with finality but lighter with freedom. My pulse wasn't panicked. It was steady, sure. For the first time in a long while, I felt like the author of my own story again. Outside, the air was cool, clean. The hum of traffic in the distance, leaves whispering softly above. I drew in a deep breath and let it out slowly. This wasn't about a dinner joke. It was about the exhaustion of being unseen, unheard, quietly dismissed. But now, finally, I saw myself. I had chosen respect over comfort, dignity over denial. Days later, the echoes of that night lingered. Friends speculated, some sympathetic, others judgmental, but I no longer lived by their approval. She reached out. Texts, calls, messages laced with confusion and regret. But I didn't respond. My silence said what words never could. Some lessons only sink in when the silence becomes permanent. In the stillness that followed, I found something unexpected. Peace. Peace from the constant tension, from the slow erosion of self-worth, from the endless compromise of staying too long. I hadn't walked away to punish her. I walked away to honor myself, and in doing so, I learned something simple, powerful, and irrevocable. Sometimes, the greatest act of love you can offer is the love you finally give yourself. Unwavering, unapologetic, whole.